Hey everybody, it's Heidi from Tarot Times with Heidi, and we're here in our final video about, what happens with daily practice. And it's all about process and change. So none of these things like getting really emotionally buff or being super regulated or being calm and quiet and easygoing, none of these things happen overnight. Like it happens with practice. It's just like lots of practice, doing it and doing it every day, like just being present with your breath, doing it every day. And it does really fit in if you're already doing yoga, if you're already doing tarot, if you're already doing, meditation, it just fits right in to the ecosystem you already have going on. And so it will definitely amplify and benefit you to the other things that you're doing. Um, I found it really amplified my Reiki practice actually because it made me more mindful and then allowed me to focus more on my Reiki, which made the Reiki stronger. So like, yeah, it has all kinds of effects, which is super awesome. I enjoy that. I enjoy the effects. But like, if you keep sitting down, pouring water, paying attention, something does begin to change. It's like really, really subtle and quiet, and you might not even notice it right away because it's like, well, water is super yin, it's like it's quiet change. Tea is really subtle. It doesn't tell you how to be mindful or kind. It's not like a meditation practice where they give you instructions on like how to be mindful. It doesn't tell you how to be mindful or kind. And I guess like when you think about like Buddhist teachers, they don't tell you how to be mindful or kind either. They speak in Zen koans and you're supposed to find that out for yourself. So I guess it's similar in that way. Tea is just like creates the conditions where mindfulness and kindness can arise, which is, I guess, the same idea behind like meditation. Like meditation just means that like you can be more mindful, you can be more, and then if you've got more awareness, then you have more capacity for change and creating positive change in your life and choosing outcomes that are going to be more beneficial for you and the people around you. Like you can afford to be kind if you have a high emotional capacity, right? So just like, and no matter how my day is, I try to pause and have some tea, just pay attention to ourselves and the tea, noticing how it shapes the body and the mind. And then it kind of starts with that gentle awareness. You kind of settle down, and then it ripples out to be like patience and understanding and kindness and just like appreciating the poetry and the beauty in the tea, and by default, the world around you. We're always like influencing each other, like every word, every action ripples outward. And like tea reminds us that we can always make the world a little brighter in some ways. Like it's cheesy, but like one teacup at a time, like the more kind we are, the more it impacts other people. And, it's like I know that for myself. I am quite an eager beaver. So if I'm like, I can be like, I'm doing Reiki. Do you want to do Reiki with me? And like, honestly, like the practice of tea kind of is like people know you do tea. And so they can ask you if they want to do tea with you. Like people can, or if you meet someone and you're just getting to know them, maybe you can offer doing tea with them. But it's also just part of your practice, like for yoga, I do yoga all the time. And like if a friend is in town and like a friend came into town like a few weeks ago, and they texted me being like, "Hey, what's going on? What are you doing tonight? What's your flow like?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm going to yoga class." And she was like, "Oh my God, let's go together." So we went to yoga class together. You know what I mean? And it was a nice flow. We had a great hang. We both love yoga. But it's sort of like that. Like if someone's like, "What are you doing?" You're like, "I'm having a tea ceremony." And then if they want to come join you, they can join you. You don't have to be evangelical about it necessarily. You can just do it on your own. And if someone wants to do it with you, they can show interest, also allow other people to show interest in what you're doing. Because, Yeah, that's part of it. That's part of it too, you know what I mean? Um, but your presence and change, it does take time. And when you sit for tea all the time, it will change your energy and it will change your vibe. And people will notice. People will notice that you're doing something. And, if they're curious, let them ask. And if they're curious, they can sit with you, you know? So like let it change your presence, let it change your awareness, and just enjoy having a moving meditative practice that brings you into awareness that like helps build your brain up in ways that like buffer your emotional awareness. And I mean, it's so enjoyable. Having tea ceremony every day is so enjoyable. And sharing that with people around you, so enjoyable. But you know what's not enjoyable? Sharing tea ceremony with people who feel like they're forced to do tea ceremony and they're not really into it. Like, that's not fun. So, like, try not to pressure people into having tea ceremony with you. If they want to come, let them come, but only on their own accord. And that also, like for me, is part of process and change because myself personally, I can be quite controlling and manipulative. I don't think of myself as controlling or manipulative. That's not how I experience myself, but I have OCD and I am autistic. And that means that like I want to know what's going on around me. And and it so I'm, I can be quite controlling because I want to know what's happening because then I can plan it and it makes more sense to me neurologically. And like I have a need for clarity more than other people because of the autism. And like my intention behind it isn't to like bully people into doing what I want them to do, but sitting with tea helps me be more, I don't want to say passive because I mean, maybe that is the right word, but I don't mean it in a negative way. I mean, I am less pushy. I'm like, people know that I'm doing these things or like whatever, like say, I don't know how to explain it. Like even like with my partner, he knows that I want to talk about certain things or that certain things in our relationship bother me. But if I'm always bringing them up, I'm gonna create resentment with him, and I'm not gonna let him be able to have space to be curious, to maybe say, "Hey, Heidi, this bothered you in the relationship. Let's talk about it." And if I'm always bringing it up, then I'm just being pushy, you know? And then if he actually does talk to me about it, he's gonna be resentful because he feels bullied, you know? And so, like, sitting with tea helps me just be like, well, they know that it's an issue for you, and if they care about you, I'm sure that he'll want to talk about it, and maybe he just needs to do it in his own way. And you have to like allow someone to reach back. You have to allow someone to figure out how they want to reach back. You have to, like it's not just about like pushing for a certain outcome because you're worried about something or you have OCD and you can't help it or whatever. Like it really does help me manage my symptoms for sure. That's another thing. Helps me manage my symptoms, helps me be less controlling just on a neurological level. It helps me worry less because, I can, yeah, sort of that whole theme of like, uh, I have an interest in doing something, and if I tell my friends, hey, I'm interested in doing this thing, like I don't have to make them do that thing with me, but if they're interested in doing it with me, then it gives them a chance to say, hey, I'm interested in doing it with me, let's do it together. But if I'm always like, I want to do this thing, I want to do this thing, I want to do this thing, I'm not allowing there to be like a mutual exchange. I'm bullying them, I'm being too pushy, which is something I mean, neurologically, I'm wired that way, but I don't want to encourage that. You know what I mean? I'm not saying there's not gifts. that I've had. Like autism allows me to process things in a certain way, which are really cool. Um, OCD allows me to be very tenacious when I want to follow a task through all the way through. Like in those things, I think that's fine, but they also have like negative impacts on the people around me. And, you don't just come with just the good. So like that's one way that I find having tea teaches me, you know? And that change doesn't happen overnight. I mean, for me, it's going to be a lifetime practice. Like this is something that's going to have to be a lifetime practice. It's not a one shot thing, I have to walk with myself, and tea is something that allow that you can walk with tea and help tea guide you into mindfulness, guide you into kindness, guide you into curiosity, guide you into care, guide you into self-understanding. And yeah, so yeah, one teacup at a time, one sip at a time, one moment at a time. So hope that was interesting for you. I hope it resonated with some of you. If you have anything that you wanted to share or that something that came up for you while I was sharing, please get a hold of me. I would love to hear your perspective on it and um, continue the conversation. So if you have any comments, anecdotes, stories, responses, agreements, disagreements, you can use the booking link I've sent you if I've sent you one. And if don't have a booking link, you can send me an email, tarottimeswithheidi@gmail.com. Say the course, which is tea ceremony, and tell me the video, which is impacts. I think it's called change. Let me guess. Presence and change, because in order to have change, you need to bring presence to it first. So like understanding that I was controlling, that I needed to bring presence to that first, and then I can change it, or like mindfully interact with that differently, and you can be controlling for all kinds of reasons. Like before, I controlled through people pleasing, because I wanted everyone to feel good so I could feel safe. And then I stopped people pleasing, but then I became controlling in terms of like being too pushy with what I want. So I kind of like swung the opposite direction. And so hopefully I found the center soon. But that's been my process. I would love to hear yours. And yes, please hit me up for a tutoring Q&A and we can continue the conversation. So take care, everyone, and I hope you had an awesome time listening to this and that I didn't just bore you with my rambles. I hope you liked it and enjoyed it and found it nourishing for you and that there was something from it that you could glean. All right, take care. Bye, everyone.